This brand used to post cryptic Instagram stories, like they were launching a secret society. Now they're worth over $1 billion, and somehow they're still cool?
Huh?
Today, I'm kicking off a new series, Brands I Admire and Why. And we're starting with one supplement brand that made rebellion a business model, Ghost. Before Ghost ever dropped a product, they dropped vibes. They sold an idea. Cryptic black and white Instagram posts, teaser trailers with zero context, a logo with no products. Just a ghost icon, some moody music, and people wondering, is this a clothing brand? A supplement company? A new cult I can join if I bring 3 friends? It was like if Supreme and a supplement brand had a mysterious baby. But behind the smoke and aesthetic mirrors were 2 real people, Dan Lorenko and Ryan Hughes. They didn't just pop up out of nowhere. They came from deep inside the supplement world and wanted to do it differently. Dan worked in brand management and product development for several supplement companies in his early 20s, most notably Cellucor, where he helped shape the launch of C4. Yes, that C4. He knew the business side. He knew the label game. He knew how the sausage got made, and how shady that sausage could be. Ryan Hughes was the face, a fitness model, IFBB pro, and one of the original men's physique competitors. This was kind of before everyone knew what an influencer was. He'd been sponsored by big-name brands, done the expos, signed the shaker bottles, and saw firsthand how disconnected most supplement companies were from actual people. You ever see someone take a photo with a supplement rep who you know doesn't even use the product? Ryan had to be that guy, and he hated it. These 2 met around 2014, bonded over their mutual frustration with the industry, and started brainstorming a better way. What if supplements were treated like lifestyle products? What if people actually trusted the labels? What if the brand didn't suck? So they did what every visionary does when they're fed up. They made a moody Instagram account with no products and let the internet freak out. The hype worked, but more importantly, they followed through and actually delivered on the hype. Like, how often does that happen? Usually, mystery marketing leads to disappointment. Ghost launched with a clear mission and clear labels. Shocking, I know. In 2016, they launched with Ghost Legend, a fully transparent pre-workout, and Ghost Whey, a protein powder that didn't taste like drywall. And that was just the beginning. One of the first things that set Ghost apart was the label. No proprietary blends, no BS dosages, just ingredients, clearly labeled with actual amounts. At a time when most brands were still hiding behind muscle explosion matrix formulas, remember those? Ghost was just like, here's the L-citrulline, here's the beta-alanine, here's the caffeine. No mystery. They basically dared the rest of the industry to do better. And to be honest, not everyone has risen to the challenge. Not even today. But transparency wasn't just about what was on the label. It was how they talked to their audience. Ghost didn't try to sound like a university research paper or a cartoon villain selling you shredded dreams like Mr. V-Shred. They just talked like real people. Whether it was Dan and Ryan on video or Ghost's own social feed, the tone was always real, casual, confident, and slightly chaotic in the best way. They made it feel like a conversation, not a pitch. And in a space where authenticity is usually faked harder than a fitness model's natty status, that actually meant something.
With us, it was important to say, look, let's just be real, you know?
Now let's talk flavors, because this is where Ghost really broke the mold. While other brands were still doing chocolate, vanilla, and maybe cookie dough if they're feeling wild, Ghost went full nostalgia trip. Sour Patch Kids, Swedish Fish, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They weren't just flavoring supplements, they were building emotional connections to childhood sugar addictions, which is genius. And unlike a lot of shady knockoff brands that just hint at a flavor and hope nobody sues them, Ghost actually licensed the IP. They worked directly with the brands. It was legal, it was legit, and it opened a whole new door for what a supplement brand could be. These collabs weren't just stickers on a tub either. The products actually tasted like what they said. I've tried the Sour Patch Red Berry pre-workout, and yeah, it basically rewires your brain mid-set with childhood joy and citrulline pumps. But it didn't stop at candy. They've collaborated with Christian Guzman, with max tuning, with brands in gaming, music, even apparel. And now, in 2025, they're back on tour. Warped Tour, baby. Ah.
Let's go! Let's go! It's time to move! What's in your input?
Warped Tour was the soundtrack to every early 2000s gym bros' emotional development, including mine. So teaming up with them, it's perfect. Because Ghost isn't just selling supplements anymore. They're building culture. Supplements are usually sold with hardcore gym imagery or fake medical vibes. Ghost went the opposite way and built something that people actually want to be a part of. When Ghost Energy hit the market, a lot of people thought, cool, another supplement brand throwing caffeine in a can. But they weren't ready for how good it was. The formula wasn't overloaded with stimulants or sugar. It was clean, well-dosed, and no surprise, tasted like childhood, with a 200 milligram caffeine kick. And just like their supplements, the label was fully transparent. No energy blend garbage, just ingredients, listed clearly with actual amounts. Ghost Energy wasn't trying to compete with Bang or Monster by just yelling louder. They just made a better product and let the brand do what it does best, connect. And it worked. Hard. Distribution exploded. They landed retail deals with everyone from GNC to 7-Eleven to Circle K. By 2023, Ghost Energy had become one of the fastest growing functional beverage lines in the country. And then came the big one. In early 2024, Keurig Dr Pepper announced it was acquiring Ghost for, wait for it, $1.65 billion. $1 billion. Let me just say that again. The Rebel brand, with transparent labels and candy flavors, got bought out for over $1 billion. And they didn't have to sell their soul to do it. It proved what a lot of us suspected, or at least hoped. You don't have to compromise your brand to grow. You just have to do something that people actually care about, and do it well. As Ghost kept growing, not everyone was thrilled. In 2023, they got hit with a lawsuit claiming their candy-flavored products were misleading and could be mistaken for actual candy, which, like, what? Imagine suing someone for making their energy drink taste too tasty. That's like suing LaCroix for making lime taste like a passing thought. But here's the thing, Ghost fought it, and they won. The court ruled that their branding was clear, their labels were accurate, and, shocker, adults can tell the difference between a pre-workout and a bag of candy. Wild. This wasn't just a win for Ghost. It was a win for the entire industry. It set a precedent. If you license IP, follow the rules, and label clearly, you can still be creative without getting smacked with lawsuits. In a world where so many brands play it safe out of legal fear, Ghost just proved you can take risks and still come out on top. Look, a lot of brands talk about being different, about disrupting the industry, about changing the game. I cannot tell you how many times I have heard this in my career, but most of them that say that, they really aren't. At best, they're just protein powder in a black tub with a skull on it. Ghost actually did it. They built a real brand with personality, community, and flavor in an industry that usually feels like a science fair run by gym bros. They didn't follow the typical playbook. They made supplements look and feel like streetwear. They talked like real people. They partnered with candy brands, punk rock festivals, and YouTubers, not just bodybuilders with scary veins. They never promised to be the most hardcore or the most scientific, but they always promised to be real. And that, in this space, is pretty damn rare. I admire Ghost because they proved something that I believe too. You can build something bold, something fun, something different, and still win without compromising who you are. This is the first in a new series I'm calling Brands I Admire and Why. Not paid, not sponsored, just real respect. So if there's another brand you think deserves a breakdown, drop it in the comments. I'm always watching, like a creatine-fueled Batman. I'm here to protect this city. Thanks for watching Bottom Line. Hit the like and subscribe buttons harder than a Warheads flavor hits your tongue. Follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you in the next one.